Welcome to your fully seated chair yoga class. This will be a shorter practice, so you can get a lot of the major joints of the body moving, get a little bit stronger in some of the muscles while supported. So I'll invite you to find a place in your space that you have enough room to move your arms and legs out fairly wide. You don't need tons of space, but that amount should be pretty good. And you'll need a sturdy chair. So that's a chair that doesn't have wheels or spinny or turny or anything like that. And if you happen to have a yoga mat, you could put at least two of the legs on the chair, and that will keep you really nice and secure. However, if you only have a couch or whatever you have handy, feel free to use that. Just keep in mind that it can be easier to move around on a chair that's firmer. And we'll get started in a seat. So you can find a place on your chair that feels comfortable, where you can sit up fairly tall and long through the neck. The shoulders are soft though, so the shoulders are just hanging out. And if you like, you could bring one hand over the chest or heart and one hand over your belly. We'll start by deepening the breath a little bit. So first, you might just take a few breaths and notice how your breath is right now, where you feel the breath underneath your hands. So you might feel this soft lift as you breathe in, or expansion, and a drawing inward as you breathe out. Now, if you only feel your breath kind of higher up around the chest, see if you could also, as you inhale, expand your belly. So you're not pushing out the belly, but you're just naturally letting the rib cage expand in the belly, puff out just a little bit. And then as you exhale, allow your belly, your back, your chest to soften. So take a long, slow breath in, filling up through the whole rib cage, filling up the lungs. And a slow breath out, softening the ribs, softening your shoulders, your face. And then you might start to notice that you have a natural pace once you slow down the breath. If you notice that the inhale or the exhale is a little bit uneven, then see if you can bring the breath in and the breath out to be about the same length. And if you can't do it right now, no worries. Just try your best. Okay, we'll try that one more time. Long, slow breath in. Even, slow breath out. If your hands were up, you can bring them down. And we'll start to add some movement. So we'll start with the head and neck and work our way down. You can start by lifting your chin up, and you might look up towards the ceiling. And then when you're ready, lower your chin down towards your chest. You can go as fast or as slow as you need to. And then maybe as you breathe in this time, you lift your gaze up. And as you breathe out, lower your gaze down. So use the breath to help with the movement. But as long as you're breathing, it's okay. So inhale, gaze rises. Exhale, gaze lowers. Just a couple more like that. Breath in, reach up. Breath out, gaze lowers on down. One more time, breath in, chin lifts. Breath out, chin lowers. Come on back to center, sit tall, keep the neck long, and then we'll look over towards your right side. Maybe take a breath in here. And then as you breathe out, come on back to center, switch sides, looking over to your left side. Take a breath in. And then breathe out, return to center. Going over to the right, inhale. And exhale, come on back. Inhale, look left. And exhale, return back. We'll do one more each way. Inhale to your right. Exhale back to center. Breathe in to your left. And come on back. This time we'll do a side stretch, so you can bring your right ear down towards your right shoulder. It won't touch, just kind of bring it in that direction. And you might start to feel stretch here on your left side of the neck, of the shoulder. Maybe you stay here. Or if you don't feel a whole lot of stretch yet, you could reach your left hand down towards the floor, or you might even hook your hand onto the side of the chair. And I'll invite you to stay here for 3 slow breaths. So allowing the head to soften, just hang out. Stay for one last breath here. And a full empty. If you had your hand down by your side, bring it on up. If you like, you can bring your right hand to right tempo and then help your head up with your hand. Switch sides. So allow your left ear to dangle down towards your left shoulder. And again, you can stay right here. That's great. And every side's a little bit different. So you might choose to stay here. You might choose to reach your right hand down, or you might even explore what it's like to hold onto the side of the chair. And then once you've found a good spot, I'll invite you to stay here for 3 breaths. So just that slow, steady breath that we've been working with, just as much as you can. One more inhale. And a long empty out. From here, bring your right hand up. You can even help your head up with your opposite hand. And come on up. This time we'll make our way into a seated cow posture. So you're going to kind of swing your belly forward, puff your chest forward, reach your shoulders back a little bit. And maybe you even look up just to where your neck feels comfortable. Take a breath in. And then bring everything back to center so you're sitting tall. Now you have an option to stay here, especially if your back is feeling a little bit grumpy today. Or if you want, you can tuck your hips under and start to round a little bit for cat. So we're rounding your back like we're a scared cat. And then we'll start to alternate sides. So inhale, send your tailbone back, reach your chest forward. Elbows can go back a little bit, lengthen through your neck, chin lifts. Full breath. And then as you exhale, either return to center, so option to stay here, that's great, or you can tuck everything under and puff up between your shoulder blades, neck is soft. Inhale, cow, sway forward. And exhale, either stay in your seated table or round under like cat. All right, we'll do them one more each way. Breath in. And breath out. Curl it under or stay in the center. Your choice. Come on back to the middle. Sit tall. This time we'll find a side stretch so you can bring your right palm facing up. Now, if your shoulders are feeling a little bit sticky, feel free to keep your arm under shoulder height or even at the level of the shoulder. If it feels okay to reach your arm up, go ahead and do that. And we'll lean over towards the left side. So long waist on the right. You could have your hand down on the chair for support or on your hip. Now you could always look forward, or if it feels okay on your neck, you could look up towards your top hand or towards your elbow or wherever your gaze naturally goes. Now we all have different bodies, so your shape might be different than my shape. Your elbow might be more bent or more straight or whatever. It's all good as long as you're getting a side stretch. And see if you can stay here for 2 more breaths. One more breath in. And a long empty out. Slowly come back up. Hand lowers. We'll switch sides. So left hand could reach. Your hand might be on your shoulder, elbow up to the side. So that's an option to keep your arm low, or maybe you venture up and reach up and then send your the side of your left rib cage out to the left. Hand could stay on your leg or hip, or maybe reach your right hand down towards the chair for support. And you have the same option, so you might explore just looking forward, or maybe you look up a little bit. Finding some space to breathe here on the left side waist. Just a couple more breaths wherever you are. When you're ready, rise on up. Hand can lower down. We'll do a couple shoulder loops after that, so you can reach your shoulders up towards your ears. Maybe take a breath in, and then as you exhale, allow your shoulders to soften back behind you. Inhale, shoulders rise, and exhale, shoulders soften. Inhale, lift. You're making these little circles up, back, and down. And then one more just like that. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. This time we'll start to wake up through the hips a little bit. So you can find a windshield wiper. Sometimes you need to kind of scoot towards the front of the chair. And if you're looking for support, you can hold onto the sides of the chair and rock your knees a little bit from side to side, kind of pivoting on the edges of the feet. Go to where your hips, knees, and ankles feel happy. So it could just be a tiny little micro movement, or it could be a little more generous depending on how you're feeling today. We're just getting the joints moving. Make sure you're still breathing. All right, and then one more time to your right. One more time to your left. Come on back to center. And if you kind of scooted too far close to the edge, come on back. And option to stick with that windshield wipers, or if you want, you can start by hiking up your right knee and draw circles with your knee. So you're going to bring your knee out to the right side, and then bring it on back to center, lifting your right knee up, guiding it out to the side. That could be a nice big circle, or it might be a nice little circle. So you might start to feel that as you lift your leg, your abdominals are working. Now, sometimes if you're feeling this in the low back, if you lean towards the back of the chair just so ever so slightly, it can help release that pressure. Okay, we'll go one more round in this direction. And then land the foot down. We'll try the other side, give that leg a break. So lifting your left knee, guiding it, the left knee out to the side. Any amount's okay. You can hover the foot off the floor, come back to center, lift the knee, rotating. And again, you can still continue to hold onto the sides of the chair if that's helpful for you today. Make sure you're still breathing. Sometimes I'll breathe in as I lift and breathe out as I lower. Just a couple more like that. Going out to the side and coming on back in. All right, and then land your feet down. This time we'll try to go the other way. So you can swing your right leg out to the side and then up, and then hug it in and lower down. So out, up, hug it in, Lower down. Or whatever way you haven't gone yet, see if you can figure that out. Just to switch it up a bit. All right, and just about one or two more. Starting to feel the legs, the hips, all the muscles around there. And we'll go with the left, out, up, in, out, up, and breathing. Keeping the breath smooth as much as you can. You might notice differences between the sides. You might have to have a bigger movement on one side, a smaller movement on the other. It's all good. We're just getting a little bit of movement. One or two more, depending on your pace. Come on back. It's actually a lot of work. Okay, we'll start to wake up through the feet and ankles. So you can lift up onto your toes, take a breath in. And then as you breathe out, lower your heels down, lift the toes, spread the toes as wide as you can, but keep the balls of the feet down. So you're waking up through the arches here. And sometimes I need to peek at my feet, make sure they're doing the thing that my brain's telling them to do. So you might have to find that too. And then lower the toes, inhale, lift the heels. Exhale, lower your heels. Inhale, just the toes, spread the toes wide, balls of the feet down. Exhale, soften your toes. Inhale, lift the heels. Exhale, lower your heels. Inhale, lift your toes, spread them wide, wide, wide apart, even the pinky toes. Soften the toes down, and then one more round. Inhale, heels rise. Exhale, heels lower. Inhale, toes rise, spread them wide, like you have toe spacers, like you're gonna paint your nails really far apart. Awesome. And then soften your toes down. Feet relax. We'll come into some bigger movements now. So you can bring your right leg out to the right side. Now, so if this is feeling like a great stretch already, know that you can stay right here. Sometimes I need to kind of find the corner of the chair so both of my legs can find a nice comfy spot. So we might need to wiggle around a little bit. And we'll come into our seated warrior two. So you can kick out your left leg and find a spot where the chair is not digging into your legs so much. Your arms could reach out like a capital T. Now, if for some reason this feels like a lot, you could always bring your hands to heart center, and that's okay too. Now, if your neck is feeling a little sticky, you could always look forward. Or if you like, you could start to rotate the neck and look over your right fingertips. And I'll invite you to stay here for 5 slow, steady breaths. And you might feel your left toes wake up, pulling up towards the kneecap here. If you're feeling a little bit of tension in the back of the left leg, keep the knee a little bit softer. And then see if you can grow nice and tall from your seat all the way to the top of the head as you breathe in. And as you breathe out, ground down into the right foot. We'll stay for one last breath. And a full breath out. Now this time we'll come into side angle, so you can bring your front forearm to your front thigh. Depending on your shoulders, your back hand could be to your hip, hand could be to shoulder, or maybe you reach up and over. So we're making this big, long angle from your left hip all the way up to your top arm. Now you could always look forward, that's great. Sometimes it's nice to keep the neck neutral, or if it feels okay to look up to your top arm, go ahead and do that. But if it feels like it's kind of pinchy or feeling a little crunchy, don't worry about it. And then see if you can stay here for 3 more breaths. So about 5 in total. Now, sometimes the bottom side waist gets a little bit compressed. So if that's happening on your next inhale, you can lengthen your right shoulder away from the bottom hip. 1 more breath. And a full empty. You can lower your top hand down, lift your torso back up to center. This time we'll come into peaceful warrior or reverse warrior. So your right palm could face up. Your left hand could be on chair or hip. I prefer chair just for a little more stability. Right arm could reach up. Know that you can always keep your arm down if you have something going on with your shoulder. And then lean away from your front bent leg. Again, gaze could be outward or upward. Notice your next 3 breaths. So legs are still fairly active, still pressing down into the right foot, still keeping your left toes awake. Awesome. One last breath right here. And a full empty. Come on up, lower your arm down if it was up. Bend your left leg. And this time, pivot towards the right side. So you're going to try to scoot your left leg back a little bit. And it might be just a bit. If you feel comfortable allowing your left hip to dangle off the chair, go ahead and do that. Sometimes it's helpful to find your back hand on the chair for support. I prefer tucking my back toes under. You might feel better pointing them back. Explore your options and see what's sustainable for you today. You could always keep your hands low. Maybe reach your left arm up. Maybe reach both arms up if you're feeling really balanced. No pressure though. You can always keep your back hand down. So you might even start to find that you could wiggle your back knee. So it's almost right under your left hip. So that's an option here. You might start to feel that stretch into the waist, into the front of the left hip. Stay for another full breath. And a long empty. You can start to lower your hands down. They're up. Slide your left foot forward to meet the other. Walk yourself back to center. And we'll try the other side. So left leg swings out to the side. Option to stay here. Maybe a wiggle around and then kick your right leg out long or towards straight. Toes could even wake up here, pulling the toes in towards your kneecap. Warrior 2, arms go wide, or option to keep them low. And if you need to alternate and kind of ease into it, that's fine too. 5 slow, steady breaths. Perhaps your gaze looks over your left fingertips. Now your legs might be fairly awake. Even the left foot could be pressing down. The waist is long, but see if you can soften around your face or your jaw a little bit. So sometimes when we're really focused, our face will do funny things or our jaw will clench. Stay for your last breath. And a long empty. Left forearm to left thigh, palm could face upward. Now your choice, if your right arm is feeling fatigued, no worries. You could have your hand down to hip, maybe to shoulder, or if you like, you could reach on up and over, finding side angle, lengthening through the right waist, but also a little bit on the left side. And again, you can choose your gaze here. Any which way that feels good, as long as we're not collapsing the chest in. Chest is wide and open. Stay for your next 3 breaths. Sometimes staying still is trickier than you would imagine. Last breath right here. Full breath out. Top hand can lower if it's up. Hand could land on your hip or right hand to chair. Now, lots of options here. Opposite hand could be low, shoulder height, or reach up and over. Coming into peaceful warrior, second side. So it's like we're after the fight. peaceful, leaning away. Let the breath move. A couple more breaths. Last breath in. Full exhale. Torso rises. Lower the hand down. Bend your right knee. So slide the foot back. And then this time pivot the hips and right knee towards your left side. So you might find kind of this lunge here with your right knee bent a little bit. Both hips might be supported on your seat. Or if you feel steady, you can start to slide your right knee back behind you. So it's almost just straight under your hip, actually. And anywhere in between is okay. Remember, you have those options, toes tucked or pointed. You could hold onto the chair, nice and steady. Hands could be low, or right arm could reach up. Chest is forward, waist is long. Keeping the front leg secure, pressing into the chair, foot presses into the floor. A couple more breaths right here, noticing the stretch. Maybe you're noticing a little bit of work in the arms. If you lifted both arms last time, maybe you do it again. One more full breath in. Let the breath go out. And lower your top hand down, or both hands down if they're up. Now this time, slide your right foot forward, step the feet together, and then come on back to center. So wiggle yourself around. I'll do a hip stretch. We'll come into a figure 4 stretch. Your left ankle rather over your opposite ankle. So this is option 1. This can be great, especially if you have something going on with your knee or your hip. If you're feeling kind of bendy today, you could bring your left ankle over your opposite knee. Now, if you're not feeling a whole lot of stretch yet, you could even try flexing your left toes up towards the kneecap, no matter where your leg is. And depending on where you are, you might stay nice and tall, especially if you're feeling something going on in the hip area, you're getting a stretch. If you don't feel much yet, you might choose to find a hinge at the hips, almost like a door hinge. So back is long, hinging from the hips. Now you might have your hands just gently resting on your top shin or calf if your leg's high. If your leg is low, you could bring your hands for support on your right thigh. And then notice where the head and neck tends to go. So if you tend to poke your chin forward, or if your head kind of dangles down towards the floor, see if you can just kind of find the middle. So reaching the top of the head across the room. Now all this is going on, but see if you can still breathe. 3 more breaths. You got it. 1 more breath. And when you're ready, take a big breath in, lift up a long spine. Now you have the option to cross your knees or cross your ankles here. If it feels really icky to have anything crossed, just bring the legs out in front. That's fine too. See if you can breathe and get tall. And then as you breathe out, twist the chest over towards your left side. So you might bring your right hand to knee, left knee. Back hand could be on the side of the chair for support. We're not really pulling ourselves anywhere. We're just using it for support as the spine elongates, but also rotates a little bit. Your gaze could be right over your chest, or if it feels okay to look out to the side or even behind you, go ahead and do that towards the left. It's a little tricky to breathe sometimes in a twist, so just do your best. A couple more breaths right here. Last breath in. Full breath out. When you're ready, you're going to reach both arms up. Inhale, unwind. Make a big celebration. Let your hands come down. Legs uncross. This time we'll make our way into figure four, second side. So each side might be a little bit different. Adapt to this side. Right ankle could be on top of opposite ankle. That's great. You might explore what it's like to bring your leg up a little higher. Now, there's not a whole lot in between, especially without tons of props. So just choose what works best for you. Not what you think you should do, but really is what is working. Okay. And then maybe you flex your right toes in if you're not feeling a whole lot of stretch, so this can intensify it. Whether your ankles are low or your right ankle's high, check in. So this might be your stretch today, that's fine. Or if you like, you can get nice and tall. And then as you breathe out, fold over your leg shape. Any amount's fine. Neck is elongating. And if you have your ankles crossed, you could even use your left thigh for a bit of support. Give yourself a moment to settle into the stretch. And then I'll invite you to stay for 3 more breaths wherever you are. Notice your next breath in. Full empty out. Full inhale to lift the torso up. If you're folded forward, option to have your ankles crossed or knees crossed. So this time we're going to snuggle the knees closer together if your leg was up high. And if this just doesn't feel right, have your legs out in front of you. It's all good. So we're adapting to how we feel. Inhale, get tall, and as you exhale, we'll find a twist over to the right side. So rotating your upper back, your chest to the right. Still elongating through the top of the head. It's almost like that feeling, like if you ever tried to get on a roller coaster ride when you were a kid and you try to just get a little bit taller, stand a little bit taller. That's what it's like. You're really just lengthening from your tailbone all the way up. And crisscross the hands here. A hand could be on the chair, right hand down. Then maybe you stay. Maybe you start to feel like you can rotate your gaze around as well. So we have lots of range of motion in the neck usually. If it feels a little bit crunchy, just ease off. 3 more breaths. Now when you're ready, arms reach up, straight up, unwind the torso, take a breath in, breath out, hands lower, legs uncrossed if you had them crossed. We'll do a forward fold here. So if you're really close to the edge, just scoot yourself back a little bit. Your forward fold, especially if you have something going on with your back today, you can lean from the hips and bring your forearms on thighs. So this is a great option. It gives you a little more support for the lower back. If you want to walk your hands down your legs and then come into more of a ragdoll shape that's a little less supported, feel free to do that. Now, if for some reason your belly is feeling a little bit compressed here, you can bring your feet a little bit wider so your belly can kind of have that space to be here. And if you're fairly far forward, you might start to soften the neck, allow your head to dangle down towards the floor, just kind of dripping down like a raindrop to the ground. And wherever you are, could you stay for just 2 more breaths? Now, if you're fairly far forward, give yourself some time. So you might start to anchor into your feet. Walk your hands up the legs until your hands are on your thighs. And then when you're ready, either press into your forearms or press your hands into your knees. And come on up slowly, but with a long spine. So big breath in, rise up. From here, you can make your way into a comfortable seat where you feel a little more relaxed. So sometimes I'll scoot myself all the way back to the chair, lean into the chair, and just chill out there. Your hands could rest on your thighs, or if you just want to dangle your arms down by your sides, you can do that. And we'll stay here for about 3 or so minutes to integrate that practice. So just start to notice your feet on the ground, your seat in the chair. Maybe notice the weight of your hands in your lap. And softening the muscles around your shoulders, letting the shoulders just hang out. If you want, you could even soften your gaze down, or maybe you close your eyes. You might be able to consciously soften the muscles around your shoulders, your neck, your head, your face, your jaw. So just a little less effort. Knowing that the chair and the ground will hold you here. Being fully supported. Finding this place of stillness. Finding this place where we can start to let go. And starting to do just a little bit less. And sometimes it's not long before the mind kind of drifts off or wanders off somewhere, and that's completely normal. And see if you can just notice where it went to. You don't have to be attached to it or really just hold on to it, but just notice. Okay, I had a thought. And then bring your attention back. Feet on the ground, body's breathing. And if you like, take a longer, slower breath in, really fill up the rib cage here. And maybe you let everything out with a sigh. And if your eyes were softened or closed, start to let a little bit of light in. Maybe you blink a few times. Finding some movement in the fingers or toes, reconnect with your body. And if you like, you could bring the hands to the center of the heart space in this Anjali Mudra, Heart Mudra. Thank you for being here. May we live from the center of the heart. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.